Hello and welcome to yet another episode of In Focus program. Today's topic of discussion is G20 Delhi Summit, Takeaways from Bali Summit. Prior to starting, let's quickly review the topics we will be discussing. Background of the news, G20 Bali Summit, Key Takeaways of Bali Summit, G20 Summit 2023, Key Agenda for 2023 Summit, Way Forward, and practice questions for prelims as well as for mains. First, let us discuss the background of G20. G20 is a group of 19 nations and European Union representing the 20 largest economies in the world that meets regularly to discuss the most pressing issues facing the global economy. G20 has no permanent secretariat and secretariat rotates along with presidency among the member nations. Bali, Indonesia held the presidency of G20 in 2022, which was passed over to India in 2023. The debates and discussions in 2022 session will invariably act as a background for the agenda of 2023 session. Now let us know about G20 Bali Summit 2022. The summit of G20 in 2022 was held in Bali, Indonesia. As a preceding summit to Delhi Summit, it will cast its shadow on major policy decisions. Bali Summit was the first full-fledged physical leaders meeting since the COVID-19 pandemic began. The summit also happens to be the first G20 meeting since Russia began its invasion of Ukraine. Apart from geopolitical tensions, the meeting took place at a time when global economic activity was slowing down at a faster rate than expected. Moreover, global inflation was higher than seen for decades. The joint statement of the Bali Summit came after 6 rounds of talks and over 17 days of negotiations among the G20 Sherpas. The 52-point statement included a series of topics like food and energy security, trade, climate and biodiversity, health and digital transformation. In the statement, most leaders condemned the war and the use of threats of the use of nuclear weapons. On the sidelines of the summit, US President Joe Biden and the Chinese President Xi Jinping held a bilateral meeting for the first time since Biden became president. The G20 economies agreed in their declaration to pace interest rate rises carefully to avoid spillovers and warned of increased volatility in currency moves. Leaders recognized the importance of digital transformation in reaching the Sustainable Development Goals. They encouraged international collaboration to further develop digital skills and digital literacy. Moving on to another point, let us discuss the G20 Summit 2023. India assumed the G20 presidency for the year 2023, starting from 1st December 2022 to 31st November 2023. During the presidency, India, Indonesia, and Brazil would form the Troika. This would be the first time when the Troika would consist of 3 developing countries and emerging economies. Troika refers to the grouping within the G20 that consists of the current, previous, and upcoming presidencies. India's G20 logo is Planet Earth with the lotus, India's national flower, and the theme is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or One Earth, One Family, One Future, referring to global unity. Bharat Mandapam at the ITPU Convention Center, Pragati Maidan, New Delhi, will be the epicenter of discussions. The key agendas of the G20 Summit 2023 are as follows. New and emerging technologies like navigating technological transformations, digital public infrastructure, and artificial intelligence. Fostering development under women's leadership, advancing green growth, climate finance, and quality of life, garnering attention of life, that is lifestyle for environment, promoting inclusive and adaptable economic expansion, and assessing progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals, reforming multilateral institutions to suit the 21st century. Now turning our attention to what lies ahead of the G20 summit, G20 can provide a platform for solving various issues related to contentious issues on a global level, as it provides an opportunity for developing and developed countries to come together on a common platform. G20 can act as a platform for discussions and debates on various emerging concerns like new age technologies and breach of privacy law, data localization, trade-related concerns, growing protectionism, digital technologies, climate change uncertainties, etc. However, informal structure and lack of implementation mechanisms reduces the effectiveness of the decisions taken in G20. There is a need of a mechanism that ensures enforcement of G20 policies and principles as well as formalization of G20. Now it's time for the practice question for prelims. Consider the following statements about G20. First, G20 was established in the year 1999. Second, G20 Secretariat is based in Washington, D.C. Third, G20 Summit in the year 2024 will be held in Indonesia. Which of the following statements is or are true? 1 only, 2 only, 1 and 3 only, or 2 and 3 only? The mains question is as follows. What is the significance of India attaining presidency of G20? Will that be an opportunity for India to exert itself as a global power? Mention the associated challenges. That marks the end of today's session. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.